Hey friends, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series here on the channel, where I reflect on what's been said about the Blues, Chelsea, giving you my opinion on it. More importantly, friend, asking for yours. And there are things to talk about. Contract extensions, interesting new player links, old player links, Jules Kounde injuries. Lots to get into, of course, so settle in, get comfortable, please do drop a like. It means a lot to me, your content creator. And of course, you're all welcome to subscribe, and should you choose to do so, hit that all-important bell notifications icon. Wicked! Let's get into it, and let's begin with let's start on Billy Gilmour. Chelsea have extended Billy Gilmour's contract. Now, this is just smart business. To be honest, I'm not sure how happy Gilmour would be about this. Because this is like, you find clubs always put this option for an extension, a year extension into contracts, and maybe the player might want to get away and play, and they're like, we're going to make that more difficult, protect our asset, and extend for a year. Now, I don't know that's the case with Chelsea, but his contract has been officially extended till 2024. So he had 1 year left on his deal. Going into his final year is always tricky. Going into, 2 years isn't that bad. Essentially what they can do is they could, if they wanted to, they could just loan him out again without any fear, and they'd still own the asset and the value of Billy Gilmour. Now, Billy Gilmour himself, it's reported that he doesn't want another loan, like either play me or sell me so I know where my future stands. And that's kind of fair enough, I think, for Gilmour. He's not one of these players that have done, loads of different loans. Like, I think Ethan Ampedu's been to RB Leipzig, which he seemed on the surface of an excellent loan. It was a failure. He went to Sheffield United, innovative back three system under Wilder. Seemed like a good idea. Was an absolute disaster. And he's had a sort of so-so okay time at Venezia in terms of experiential stuff. Like Ethan Ampadu, I know we're not talking about Ampadu, but he's the player that you just cannot send on another loan, because he's just going to become... He'll just become one of these players that you always knew about that went on all these loans and never played for Chelsea. But you feel like, okay, well, that's not going to be Ethan Ampadu. He's going to go on one loan and come back to the first team. Okay, he had to go on 2. Wow, he's gone on 3. 1 more, and he's just like the aforementioned loan army kids that you never see again, and you could pick out of a list out of the bunch. Billy Gilmour's an interesting one, of course, being linked to Everton as well. Under Frank Lampard, Billy Gilmour's, let's have it right, sensational, winning man of the match everywhere, constantly the best man on the pitch. You got Jody Morris talking about it, what Frank used to say to him when he came off at the end of the game. He's like, well, Billy, best player on the pitch again. And he was sensational, so maybe a move to Everton to go play under Frank Lampard would be great for him. Many of you, including myself to a degree, really still there is hope for Billy Gilmour. I know he's small and petite, but so's Modric. He did alright, didn't he? Won a Ballon d'Or, still balling out at 37 years old, just won a Champions League. Well, won several Champions Leagues. So, I don't feel like, and he's tenacious, he's got spirit, Gilmour. I don't know, man. I think Thomas Tuchel respects his ability, but we'll have to see what happens there. I literally can't call it. Let me know what you think. Comment down below on the future of Billy Gilmour. We are going to talk about transfers, but let's first talk about Jules Kounde, who's picked up an injury. He's having surgery on a long-standing injury. I'm going to read you some information here from The Athletic, published by Luc Boscher, citing also what Didier Deschamps, the France manager, said. Of course, Kounde is like our most heavily likely transfer, and he's having surgery. France defender Jules Kounde will have surgery on a long-standing injury, so this has been a long problem that's looking to get resolved. It is understood that Kounde is having a small intervention that was planned a while ago when he would be back for pre-season. The small procedure is anticipated to keep him out for around 4 weeks, which would obviously slow him down for the pre-season in terms of getting up to fitness. The issue is believed to be in Kounde's pelvic area, and it's not uncommon among players. There is no anticipation that the impact will impact any potential transfer for the severe man, essentially Chelsea. I have seen on Cy Phillips's Twitter feed that there is actually speculation that though it wouldn't affect Chelsea's transfer at all, there is a small chance that maybe it could be taken into account for negotiations for Chelsea to actually get a little bit of money off because when you buy a player who's just had surgery, there's inherent risk in that, even if it's minor. So with that, they might think, oh, can we have it, squeeze, squeeze a few million off or whatever. I don't know whether that's realistic or not, but that's something to consider, and maybe it could happen, right? Of course, making moves, many Premier League clubs, it looks like I'm seeing stuff on today on news articles and media and stuff that Tottenham Hotspur might be signing Yves Bissouma from Brighton, which would be an excellent signing in terms of player profile for like £26 million, which raises the proverbial eyebrow to like Carlo Ancelotti heights for that kind of money, man. There is a sex scandal or something he's involved with, a case that actually isn't as clear cut, and it makes it a bit messy, and yeah, possibly for that reason it might actually make it more easier to just stay away for the moment, because I don't want any of that controversy around myself. I look at Mason Greenwood. I even look at the stuff with Marcos Alonso, what happened in his past and all that baggage that's brought with him to Chelsea. And, I just don't really fancy any of that, to be honest, mate. But we'll see what happens there. Chelsea, of course, need to get moving and grooving. Now, Chelsea often work in the background quietly, so with people freaking out, like, many Chelsea fans thinking, oh, we're not doing anything, the all likelihood Chelsea are probably doing a lot of stuff. In terms of outgoings, with Marcos Alonso and Cesar Azpilicueta to Barcelona, it's seemingly the same situation. They both want to leave. Chelsea will want to get a bit of money out of them. Andreas Christensen as well. He told a publication, I guess after a Denmark game, he said, hopefully soon in terms of his announcement to Barcelona. I have known what I'm going to do for a while. I'm just waiting for the right time. I'm going to Barcelona, essentially, says Andreas Christensen. I'm going to a La Liga giant and following Antonio Rudiger. So that's fullbacks and Christensen to Barcelona, which will need us, I think, for some cover. At wingback, of course, people are talking about Emerson Palmieri or Ian Maatsen being the deputy to Marcos Alonso, Ben Chilwell to replace Marcos Alonso. But Chelsea are being linked with Ait-Nouri from Wolves. Again, at Sly Phillips Sport tweeting this. Second strong source, so this is the second source. That's strong. Confirms Chelsea's interest in Wolves left-back Rayan Ait-Nouri to replace one-to-way star Marcos Alonso, which actually would be a pretty sweet signing, I think, provided it's a reasonable cost. He's a good player, he's dynamic, he's quite explosive, and he's the kind of player that would feel like a decent high-octane option behind Ben Chilwell, and maybe even at times, if he's in form and, Ben's getting complacent, could maybe even push him if he finds great form. So that's the kind of, that's the kind of signing I really like. Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. We could, if the news if there's more sources that come out, if there's more headlines, we'll pull up his stats and we'll talk about it here on the channel and have a look at what he's good at on a scouting report. So make sure you're subscribed with the bell clicked for that one, because we do that with all the players as we gain nearer to seemingly or similarly, should I say, Sergino Dest. Now, Barcelona's situation is a dire one financially. They're trying to register the aforementioned Andreas Christensen. They need more money to do that. They can't give Ousmane Dembele a bigger fee, which he wants. Why? He's probably going to go for a free transfer, likely to Chelsea, which of course is a sensational, exciting signing. Graham Boehly saying that Thomas Tuchel will be given the final say on Marcos Alonso's future at the club. He will also be given the chance to sign Sergino Dest in an exchange as well. So that's interesting. Graham Boehly saying that Sergino Dest could go the other way in exchange of, what do you give both Azpilicueta and Marcos Alonso one way for a young fullback, wingback in Sergino Dest to come this way and can play on both sides? Of course, another American to maybe come and suit our new marketing project with our American owners that want to expand in America. So they bring in, maybe they keep Pulisic, which I'm not sure they will, but certainly bringing in an American player that they like I can't imagine American owners would be opposed to that. Sergino Dest, of course, would be great cover because he can play on both sides. if you can hear that, that's my washing machine sounding like it's about to explode, man. So I apologize. Which would make sense because you've got Chilwell and James, and then if you've got high quality backup that can play on both sides, he'll be quite pleased that he'll get more minutes. Maybe you're playing more behind Reece James on the right, and then you keep Emerson Palmieri to play on the left, or sell Palmieri and bring in Ian Maatsen. I think that would be a really good option. To be honest, I feel pretty good about both options, Ait-Nouri and Sergino Dest, as a rotational wing-back cover. When you've got sensational starters like Chilwell and James, you just need good quality and generally, hopefully, quite young options. Ait-Nouri, I know Sergino Dest is young, but I'm assuming Ait-Nouri is young as well, just by looking at him. So that would be great. Let me know what you think about that, friends. Graham Bailey also is talking about other stuff. Like he speaks of Ousmane Dembele, the aforementioned, of course. Chelsea remain in talks with the representatives of Ousmane Dembele and are confident of signing the Frenchman on a free transfer once his current deal at the Camp Nou expires at the end of the month. So we're only at we're at the middle of the month. When did that happen? We're in the middle of June. Jeez, it's sneaking up on me, man. Alright, so quite soon. What I don't really understand about this is, how come Rudiger can announce his goodbyes, and Real Madrid can announce him before technically his contract's up at Chelsea, but we have to wait till the day is up for Ousmane Dembele to do the deal. I mean, technically you can agree a pre-contract with a club 6 months before your contract runs out. That's why you see, in the January transfer window, you see all these pre-agreements going around. But at Cy Phillips Sport also tweeting this, offering additional comfort, saying Ousmane Dembele's representative Moussa Sissoko is reportedly in very advanced negotiations with Chelsea. Quote, very advanced negotiations. So with that, we can only hope for the best. It will be a sensational signing. It's not a given that it's going to work, but you know what, mate? What is these days? I said to my mate yesterday, we could sign 2012 Messi when he scored, 91 goals in a year. We could sign that guy and I wouldn't feel 100% confident, because this is Chelsea and this is, we don't do that here. Finally as well, there's a couple of things here from @Cy Phillips Sport on Twitter that I want to reference. Dimarzio talking about Romelu Lukaku yet again. Of course, this story is going to be a relatively sensational one, if not a bit boring for us Chelsea fans, just because of the nature and the profile of the transfer and the potential return to Inter Milan. Inter Milan are in talks to sign Romelu Lukaku and Paulo Dybala, but the plan is only to sign one and not to sign both, coming from Dimarzio, where I heard the gaffer had a dream of a front three of Dybala probably slightly in behind Lautaro and Lukaku as a front three, and that would be a pretty tasty front three if you consider how effective Lukaku and Lautaro was playing together and their chemistry in that team. Maybe if they had a front three of that would be a pretty deadly front three. But Dimarzio suggesting they can't sign both. Of course, Paulo Dybala would be a free transfer, but Lukaku would probably say, look, pay me less wages, and he'd demand less wages than Dybala, and also Lukaku would be like, he'd probably make a sales pitch like, I work here, I can play with Lautaro. So we'll see what happens there with Inter. Finally, coming from The Athletic via Cy Phillips as well, with 2 seasons left on his contract, now is time for Chelsea to either sign Christian Pulisic to an extension or start thinking about a transfer. The latter looks more likely, of course, saying that he's more likely to go to be sold than to be given an extension. Now, let's have it right. Christian Pulisic will retain marketing value, but he needs to play football and score goals. If he just scored a few more goals to go with his profile of Captain America, he would command 60, 70 million. But because of, in and out of the team and this, that and the other, he won't command that big a fee. It's almost like you wish he played a little bit more, but then, got to nearer, he can probably get to Sadio Mane level goals, not golden boot winners, but maybe he could get to that sort of level and then cost 70 million because he's what he represents in US soccer and stuff. I don't know what's going to happen. Chelsea will probably be in two minds. They'll probably want to protect their asset and extend his contract, but at the same time, it's a rebuild, and Todd, Boehly and Clearlake and everyone have to look at Thomas Tuchel and say, look, mate, we're going to win. We want to win championships now, man. is Pulisic in your team, in your tactics, and your setup going to help you win that? Tuchel will probably say, probably not. You know, or he'll be a bit part player. Right, let's sell him. 2 years left in the deal. Let's get £45 million for him or whatever. And his current value. Thank you very much, Christian. You know, whatever. Or does he stay? We'll have to see what happens. I'll be very keen to see what you guys think down in the comment section below. So please do leave your thoughts, feelings, and opinions down there. Keep it locked because we're going to start gaining momentum this week in terms of transfers. So make sure you hit the bell when you subscribe. I look forward to seeing you very soon, mate, on the next video. So thank you for joining me, liking the video and all that, mate. See you very soon. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.